The last speaker is member of Knesset Michal Biran of the Labour Party, or the Zionist camp as it is called today. Hi. Good afternoon. I am not a researcher. I'm not a scholar. I was saved from that, and I don't think I will be completing my PhD. But there are colleagues here who have helped me in my studies. Anyway, I'd like to say something connected to what you, Ovia, hinted at, but not said it fully. I take what you said as a truth, but this does not tally with the reality as I know it, which in fact, the purchasing power of people increases, the situation improves. I think that we are on the threshold of a new world where the concept that if you do everything fine and you work and you do all your checklist, everything will be okay. That's a concept that we're all raised with, and its impact is of course critical to democracy. Why not go trade in drugs and shoot people because there's a better avenue? Go to school, go to the army, work in an organized fashion. Things should be okay, but they're not okay. And some will say that we have become spoiled, that we spend on sushi, something which our parents did not do. But at the bottom line, in our parents' generation, even when they were a nurse in a hospital or a bus driver, they could buy apartments and send kids to school. But today, the middle class, we see the data time and time again, more than 40% cannot withstand a one-time expense, unexpected expense of 10,000 shekels if the car broke down, or there's some medical expense, and the younger generation relies on their parents in order to subsist. And I'd like to know how this happened. Some of you referred to full employment. This was full employment. This was the ethos of Israeli society for many, many years, under the understanding that this is a way to make a living, but also to materialize oneself as a human being, to know that you have something to get up for in the morning and that you contribute to the world. Yigal Horowitz was the first finance minister who said, maybe it's not so good that there will be full employment. And why? So that you can always say, you don't want to? There are 10 people who will be ready to take your job. And in this way, to break and to dismantle the delicate balance between employers and the power of the employers and the power of the workers, of the employees. But in reality, the expansion of non-quality jobs, of jobs that are impairing and hampering basic rights, that has been tremendous. It's not that there was some sort of a catastrophe. It was done on purpose, knowing well, and I think you're all familiar with the Supreme Court rulings in this respect. The contractual work, working by in outsourcing to an outside contractor, you know, cleaning work, etc. This is not because you will not be able to tally with the technological requirements. No, this was basically done to prevent an employer-employee relationship. And so they pay only on an effective hour of work without benefits. And when you pay only for an effective hour of work, your work is not effective, your life is not effective, even in the Knesset. If you don't know, in the Knesset, there are two parts in the building. There is the old part of the building, which looks like a little bit like the 80s. Sometimes they renovate parts of it. We used to have green carpets, old carpets, and there's a new part with marble corridors. A rule of thumb that everything that looks nice is ugly, and vice versa. Let's speak about the cleaners in the old part. They are employees of the Knesset. They earn 8,000 shekels. They come at normal hours. You meet them, you talk to them. When they have problems, people enlist to assist them. In the new part, is there the state of Israel is not the owner. And all the maintenance and cleaning services are by outside contractors. And there are cleaners who earn hardly 3,000 shekels a month. come very early in the morning so that, God forbid, we will not have to see them, so that it wouldn't jar or mar the picture that we are looking at. And members of Knesset try to enlist in their favor, but it's not done enough. And I can declare here that one of my main targets in the coming session of the Knesset is to do that in our own home, so that we can serve as an example. When you pay just in a fragmented way, we see it with the Carre Foundation, with the social workers. When you speak about poverty and about statistic definitions, very few people are properly defined as poor. But if a social worker has to have complementary or subsidized complementary income, research-wise, that's not my role. I'm not a researcher. But I can say that if there is a social worker who worked and studied, and she needs a complementary income, a complementary salary, and the state allows this, the state itself encourages the phenomenon of poor workers. And we encounter this in the Knesset almost in every debate, almost everywhere. The phenomenon of tenders at a loss, where, people with education, the various instructors of children at risk, all kinds of jobs, people who are devoted to their job, who are learning, and the state is taking advantage of large groups of people who are dedicated to their work, and the state knows that it gets a better service than the one she pays for. And when we speak about reducing poverty, about things that are coerced on the state, the union has coerced minimum wages on the state. It's not that someone said, listen, we have a problem, let's see how to solve it. No, Netanyahu sent Steinitz and others to explain, as our friend from Germany also said, that it will cause a loss of jobs. There are all kinds of explanations, but finally, because of populism and elections, they allowed the minimum wages to go up. But yes, these are the poor. But the phenomenon, as I see it, not only is it not being reduced, on the contrary, it expands. The jobs added are jobs that one can hardly make a living from. And even if you are two earners in a household, and of course add to that the apartments problems, acquiring apartments, lodging, your job will not give you the means to live a decent living. So in spite of the data presented here, and if I had received them in advance, there's something that I have received from my academic education, is to be able to read research work in a more critical look. Had I received those data, I would have studied them. But as a politician, I can promise you that I will do everything I can in order to press the government to put these things on the agenda. And there are many, many negative things which take place in Israeli society which are not connected to this panel, but phenomena of the integration of contractors, employees back into direct employment in hospitals and others. That is an encouraging example on something that starts somewhere, started from purely academic discussions and in the civil society, but where we found that when we press enough, it can be translated into political pressure. And I think there will be no other solution for the poor workers other than a return to direct employment, which includes all the elements of wages, whenever if you are effective or less productive or more productive, and returning to unionized work, because if an employee stands alone vis-a-vis his employer, he stands no chance. The only way to do that is through organized and unionized work. This is my part of the equation. That's what I'm committed to, and I'm very happy that you held this conference. There are many people here who each one addresses this from another angle, and I wish you all success.